Almost my entire batch could not go for their FMGE exam just because of this one silly mistake. One of my seniors passed the FMGE exam but at the cost of a bleeding ear. FMGE has no negative marking, but one of my seniors could not use it to her benefit because she missed out on 13 MCQs. Unattempted. Do not misplace your admit card after the exam because that might invite uninvited trouble. If you do one wrong thing on the FMGE exam day, it can cost you an entire attempt. Most of the students fail FMGE not because they did not study enough or they lacked knowledge, but because they did some silly mistakes that nobody prepared them for. And I'm going to help you and save your attempt so that you can pass FMGE with ease only if you watch this video till the very end and know every single point. Because even one silly mistake, trust me, will not be worth it. Almost my entire batch could not go for their FMGE exam just because of this one silly mistake. And you know what? They got to know this just 2 days before the exam, that they are not eligible for the same. I don't want you to make this silly mistake, so please check your emails regularly every single day, especially your spam folder. If at all you have any documents that are not correct or which have some issue, NBEMS will make sure to send you an email well in advance so that you can rectify your mistakes and get your admit card in time. Your admit card is your entry ticket for the exam. There will be no use of your hard work, your efforts and studying late at night if at all you don't have the admit card. So please make sure your documentation is on point, you check your emails regularly and you get the admit card on point. If you have any issue, make sure that you email NBEMS at the very first moment or call their helpline multiple times. So when you get your admit card, the first thing that you have to do is get it printed in a color print on an A4 size sheet of paper. Make sure that you get it printed front and back because the PDF will have 2 pages. Do not print it on 2 separate sheets of paper because at my center, there were students who got it printed on 2 different sheets of paper stapled together, and at the center they were asked to stick those 2 pages together, and just before the exam there was nothing but glue and chaos and of course the tension, and you don't want that, right? So just get it done as quickly as possible, and whenever you enter the exam hall, you just need to carry 2 things with you. The first one is of course the admit card and the second one is your photo ID. Most probably just carry the ID that you have uploaded in your application form, or just for security you can carry an extra ID with you as well. Well, in my case, I had my passport and my Aadhaar card with me when I went for the exam. You can do the same. Now, these are the things that you should keep in mind when you enter the exam hall. Now, with your admit card and photo ID, you are ready to go to the exam center. But how will you go if you don't know the exact location? So make sure that you know the address to your exam center just like your home address. Make sure that you go there well in advance or a day prior to just check the location, entry gate, and how much time does it take for you to go from your home or your hotel to the exam center, so that you can know the traffic timings, you can avoid any kind of chaos, because if you are late for the exam, they will not let you enter. No arguments, no sympathy, nothing will work. So don't make this silly mistake as well. Now, when you enter the exam center, the first thing that you have to go for is the security check. Here, one of my seniors had a very painful experience. She had this ear piercing which she had done a few weeks ago, and it could not be removed at home. It had to be removed at a jeweler's shop. So you know what? The security people, as there is no metal allowed, asked her to remove that piercing. Her dad had to literally remove the piercing by pulling it out, and her ear was bleeding right before the exam. How chaotic and stressful is that? And you don't want that in your exam, right? So learning from someone else's mistake can literally save your attempt. If you have any kind of professional piercing done, make sure to get it removed before the exam, because no jewelry, no watches and no metal buttons is the code that you have to follow for the exam. Even guys, if you have belts with like heavy metal buckles, please do not wear it to the exam. Wear something more comfortable. You can even wear your pajamas and t-shirt for the exam. Trust me, it doesn't make a difference and doesn't invite chaos. Even the shoes and socks are checked before part 1 and part 2, or even if you take a washroom break. So make sure you just wear your sliders or your flip-flops to avoid uninvited chaos. Okay, so now finally you have gotten the entry into your exam hall. Here they will take your picture, verify your photo ID cards again, and will take your thumbprint as a biometric attendance. Once that is done, you will be allotted your computer screens. Now when you sit on the computer, make sure that you check your mouse, check your keyboard, and check your screen. If there is any issue, complain immediately because you will have time, as they let you inside the exam hall an hour before the exam. They will provide you with a water bottle as well. And make sure you monitor your water intake and your caffeine intake before the exam, because if you have to take a washroom break in between the exam, your timer will continue ticking, and that timer won't be stopped for any kind of break that you take. When you go for a washroom break and when you come back, you have to go through the checking again. They will again click your photo, again take your biometric, and then you have to sit. So calculate that time accordingly if at all you have to take that break. Now, one more important thing that I would like to share here is that when you start with the part 1 or the part 2 exam, the invigilator will come to your seat to take your picture, to take your signature, and to take a stamp of your thumbprint. So this process barely takes a minute, but make sure that you're prepared for it, because if you are in the middle of a tough MCQ and if that timer is stressing you out, this can stress you out even more. So make sure that you get done with this process as soon as possible. Now this is done, right? Part 1 is done. Now you have to strategize on how you have to use your break time effectively, because that will decide how your part 2 exam will go. I will share a funny yet kinda scary experience with you. So what happened was, after I was done with my part 2 and the computer was shut down, I was just sitting over there, and the girl behind me started discussing on how part 1 was so damn easy, where I had no idea how it had gone, because I was just done with the exam and I was like, okay, finally I get a break. And this girl started discussing that, okay, part 1 was so damn easy, all the questions were from this Q bank that I had solved or from the PYQs, and I am so damn sure that part 2 is going to be so tough. Now when I heard this statement, I just closed my ears, put my head down, and tried to take a nap. And that's what you should do as well, because the girl sitting besides this one got extremely scared and it affected her part 2, which she shared with me after her part 2 was done. So make sure that you don't pay attention to anybody's opinion over there. Focus on your preparation, your MCQs, and your journey. Nobody knows how the exam went. Nobody knows the answer, because you know what? Everybody is in that moment solving the MCQs and trying to get everything right. So when you go out for that break, if you want to take a proper break and just relax, do that. If you want to eat something, if you want to drink some water, sit down, just do what makes you feel okay. For me, my strategy was to use the PDF that I had created during my preparation. Now, what did this PDF contain? Well, I had almost all the images from different kinds of topics which were high yield and expected or were asked in the previous FMGE examinations. I had the pictures of instruments, pathology images, also certain key points like tumor markers, biochemistry formulas, or I had the pictures and the details of certain characteristic keyword questions like the orphan Annie-eyed nucleus, coffee bean nucleus, starry sky appearance, tennis racket appearance, meatball and spaghetti appearance, etc., etc. Now you know that FMGE has a lot of content over here, but you just need to have the content concised in such a way that you get to revise all the points that you are not so sure about, but you know that these points can be asked in the exam. Now I also had a list of tumor markers, a list of certain, keyword one-liners and certain pictures. Now images are very, very important. If you see them and you go for the exam and you get the exact same question, come on, you're going to hit a gold mine in that particular question, and that is going to boost your confidence. Because I had the pictures of Leopold maneuvers in my PDF, I was studying them, and when I went for the part 2 exam, guess what my first question was? It was about the same, and I marked the correct answer. So that can happen with you as well. So make sure that you have a PDF and something to revise in between the breaks so that it can maximize your chances of getting all the questions right. Now, when I'm talking about all the questions, I mean all the 300 questions, because you have to attempt all of them. One of my senior, whose interview I have taken, by the way, and you can watch it over here to know how she passed her FMGE exam in the first attempt itself, she had missed out on 13 MCQs. She did not get to solve them because of time management. She passed because luckily she was very well prepared and she scored those marks out of the rest of the remaining questions. But that may not be the case with you, and those 13 questions could save up your attempt. So make sure that you manage your time really well and do not leave any MCQ. Solve all of them, attempt all the questions, because FMGE has no negative marking. Do you know how much of a boon that is? It has no negative marking, so you can mark any answer that you want, but please don't leave any question unattempted. And if you don't have any idea about a certain question, say for example you haven't studied the topic, you just don't know the answer, just use the elimination method. There will be at least one option that is not related to the question. The rest of the three might confuse you a little bit, and for that you can have another cheat code strategy, and that is to choose between option B or C. Well, that was what I followed. Just pick one, mark it, and move ahead. Do not leave MCQs for reviewing later. At least mark something and go ahead. You might not get the time to go back to that MCQ, and you don't want to leave it unattempted, right? If you want to have an exact exam-like appearance, I highly suggest giving your mock tests or grand tests on a laptop, because it is exactly like the actual exam and you will get a hold of it if you practice it well. Now, once you're done with part 2, you are officially done with the FMGE exam. And please do not overanalyze or over-criticize yourself. Everything will be fine, because recalls will be uploaded by the next day and you will have enough time to analyze it by sitting at your home watching those recall videos and eating popcorn. Well, I did not choose to do that because I wanted to keep my mind away from the exam and just focus on myself and taking enough sleep. Now, once you're done with the exam, please do not throw away or misplace your admit card, because that admit card will have a stamp which will be provided by the exam center, and you have to carry the same admit card to the NMC Delhi office when you go to collect your passing certificate, and it will be a moment of joy. You know what? When you get that PDF after all this struggle and you're still stressed that I don't know what the results will be, you just open that PDF, you scroll through your roll number and you get to see those 4 letters, PASS. Trust me, that joy is unmatched. It is so damn worth it to call your parents, to call your loved ones and to tell them that, you know what, I passed FMGE, and to see their happy faces glowing with pride. It is extremely worth it. So trust me, you don't want to miss out on that joy by doing any of the previously discussed mistakes, right? So make sure that you prepare well, you're well hydrated, you sleep well, or try to sleep well at least before the exam, and go for the exam with a very positive attitude. So I hope that this video was helpful, and if it was, please make sure that you subscribe to my channel, because that will help me and will motivate me to create more such content for you guys. If you have any specific doubt regarding the exam, you can mention it in the comment section below, or you can also DM me on my Instagram. My Instagram handle is Dr. Girija Khelkar. So make sure you follow me over there. And if at all you want to know anything about the details regarding the NBEMS updates or NMC or FMG updates, make sure you join my Telegram channel as well. I will put all the links in the description box below, so make sure you check it out. Until then, don't forget to have your cup of positivity and all the very best for your FMGE exam.